In this video, we're going to be evaluating trigonometric functions on the unit circle. Now, functions representing cyclical behaviors such as orbits of the moon and planets, the variation in air pressure that produces sound, and the back and forth oscillations of a stretched spring are behaviors that can be represented by trig functions of a real number. So on our unit circle, we can see that our y value, or our sign rather, of t is y. Sometimes we call this our y over our r, where our y is our y value and the r is our radius. And because on the unit circle our radius is a 1, by putting the 1 there, that gets us our y value. And we've also seen that cosine is usually x over our radius, and then tangent is y over x. Now notice that if p is on the y-axis, then that means that our tangent and secant functions are undefined. And if p is on the x-axis, then our cotangent and secant functions are undefined. So let's go ahead and let's get to a problem. So suppose that the real number t corresponds to the point P, which is a -2 over 3 and negative radical 5 over 3 on the unit circle. So we're going to evaluate the 6 trig functions of t with that. So here we have y, and here we have x. Oh, sorry, let's try that again. X and y. Because we're dealing with the unit circle, which has an r value of 1, remember that we are able to say that the sine of t equals y. So therefore we can just take our y value, which in this case is negative radical 5 over 3, and that becomes our sine value. Our cosine of t is our x value. And so we're able to say the cosine of t is -2 over 3. Our tangent of t is supposed to be our y over our x. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stack those. So we'll have -5 over 3, excuse me, radical 5 over 3, divided by -2 over 3. And now we need to rewrite this so we can actually find its value. So we're going to go ahead and we take that as negative radical 5 over 3 divided by -2 over 3. And so we're going to keep change flip here. So we're going to keep it. Negative radical 5 over 3. Change it to multiplication and then flip it. -3 over 2. When we multiply that, that's going to give us a positive 3 radical 5 over, and we're going to leave this as a 3 times 2 for right now, because that allows us to then cancel out our 3's, and that leaves us with a radical 5 over 2. So we say the tangent of t is radical 5 over 2. So next, in order to do our cosecant of t, we're going to take our y value, or our sine of t, and find its reciprocal. So -3 over radical 5. And from here, we're going to rationalize our denominator. And that's going to give us that we're going to have a -3 radical 5 over 5. For our secant, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find the reciprocal of our cosine of t. So that's going to be a -3 over 2. And then for cotangent, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find their reciprocal. So we're going to take the reciprocal of radical 5 over 2. So we're going to take 2 over radical 5. And just like we did for the cosecant, we're going to rationalize our denominator. And that's going to give us 2 radical 5 over 5. And so if we were to list them all, we'd have sine is negative radical 5 over 3, cosine is -2/3, tangent is radical 5 over 2, cosecant is negative radical 3 times radical 5 over 5, secant is secant is -3 over 2, and cotangent is 2 radical 5 over 5. And hence we've used the unit circle and this number that corresponds to a point on our unit circle to evaluate the 6 trig functions of t at that point.